Exchange at the end of the day is a marketplace where somebody is buying Bitcoin and somebody is selling Bitcoin. So the larger number of people, there is higher liquidity, which means that tomorrow, if you want to go sell your Bitcoin, there are enough buyers there to buy your Bitcoin.
हाय गाइस, यू आर वाचिंग मनी शॉट। ये एक शो है जहां हम 3-4 दोस्त हैं। हम क्रिप्टो करेंसीज के बारे में एक दूसरे को क्वेश्चंस पूछते हैं और डिस्कशंस करते हैं। इन डिस्कशंस को सुनकर आप भी क्रिप्टो करेंसीज के बारे में सीख सकते हैं। वी आर अबाउट 3-4 एपिसोड्स ओल्ड, सो आई वांट टू टेल यू कि हम लोग अभी भी सीख रहे हैं। आपने देखा होगा कि कुछ एपिसोड में हमारी ऑडियो क्वालिटी चेंज होती होगी या फिर कैमरा का एंगल चेंज होता होगा। इट्स जस्ट लर्निंग प्रोसेस, हम भी सीख रहे हैं। आई एम श्योर विद टाइम विल फिक्स ऑन वन कैमरा एंगल। एज ऑफ नाउ वी थिंक ऐसा ही हुआ कैमरा एंगल। हम वीडियो कॉल पे यहाँ पे हैं और व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग टू द ऑडियंस वी ट्राई टू टॉक हियर, बट ऑफ कोर्स वी आर टॉकिंग टू ईच अदर आल्सो, सो we'll also look here a lot. All of us are in a similar setup. We are all sitting in our homes and doing it over a video call. We have covered little bit of Bitcoin का basics अभी तक, right? अभी तक हमने ये बताया कि Bitcoin खरीदना चाहिए because we think there is a lot of upside to it. पर ये नहीं बताया कि कहाँ खरीदना चाहिए, how to buy Bitcoin. And once you buy Bitcoin, whenever you want to sell it, how to sell Bitcoin. This is something that we have not explained. So we are going to explain it mainly from the Indian perspective, where it's the same everywhere. But हम थोड़े Indian examples देंगे, थोड़े US के भी examples देंगे, because that's where Bitcoin has seen a lot of action. So let's start by asking Vishesh, how to buy Bitcoin.
It's very simple. Right now, Bitcoin is available largely on exchanges. Exchanges are just like how you have a stock market. You know how you invest in stocks. You go on an exchange and you buy stocks. Similarly, you can buy Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies on crypto exchanges. You just set up your account. Everything, the entire process is online. You register for an account. You link your bank account. You transfer money into the exchange, into your exchange-based wallet, and then go buy, whatever cryptocurrency you want to buy. It's pretty simple.
Okay, but Vishesh, how easy is it to set up these exchanges? So I just download an app like a net banking app and I just log in. That's it, and I transfer money to the exchange and then use that money, my INR or USD that I transferred there, to buy Bitcoin. Is as simple as that. Simple transactions, and it happens immediately.
That's exactly how it is. It's as simple as that.
All right. How do you pick exchanges if there are a lot of them? We are not suggesting any exchanges. There are few that we use, but we're not going to suggest which exchange. We can tell you a few names, but if someone has to do a research on कि मैं कौन सा exchange use करूं, तो क्या करना चाहिए उसको? What should he look for?
Look for, I think, two things. First of all, start with Google, basic research. Look for, what are the top exchanges in the region that you are in. I am in the US and I look for the number one exchange in the US. The factors that I'm looking for there is, number one means that it has higher liquidity, which means that there are a large number of buyers and sellers on that exchange. Exchange at the end of the day is a marketplace where somebody is buying Bitcoin and somebody is selling Bitcoin. So the larger number of people, there is higher liquidity, which means that tomorrow, if you want to go sell your Bitcoin, there are enough buyers there to buy your Bitcoin. And if you are trying to buy Bitcoin, there are enough sellers there. If there are not enough sellers, imagine, right? It's again supply demand. If there are not enough sellers and too many buyers, then the price will go up. So the larger the exchange, the better. There will be better liquidity. And the other thing that comes, at least in the US, or one of the factors for my consideration was I went with the number one exchange here in the US, which is Coinbase, is that they are well regulated. This is an emerging space. So there is a lot of new startups, new businesses who started exchange services, and not all of them may be necessarily regulated and have the right security protocols. And smaller exchanges that are not based in your region or are not regulated or not registered companies, they may not follow all the right practices. Maybe their security standards are lower because they are trying to cut costs, and maybe they can get hacked tomorrow, or they do some practice which causes them to be shut down. So try and go with the most renowned names. Yes, that also means that sometimes you might have to pay 1.5% higher because that's the premium you pay for going with a better exchange. But in the larger scheme of things, that's always the wiser choice.
Could you explain the transaction costs, or what are this percentage that you spoke about? If you could detail, when I buy Bitcoin, at what point during my transaction from putting money into the exchange and then using my money in the exchange to buy Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency, where all do I get charged? And of course, I can sell on these exchanges also. Then there again, where all do I get charged? So that they can look for these in their terms and conditions of these.
Yeah, it's basically during the transaction, right? Either in a buying activity or a selling activity. In both activities, exchanges might charge you a fee of the total overall amount of your transaction. Again, this may be tiered based on the size of the transaction. The higher the transaction, the percentage, that fee that they charge might be lower. Again, this depends on how big the exchange is, what they're trying to do. If it's a new startup, new exchange, even though they may be regulated, they might just have an offer. Just like how, new startups give you offers to attract customers, that might be a thing. So a younger exchange might have lower fees because they're trying to attract more customers. But yeah, the fees are generally ranging between, well, starting from zero. Some exchanges are literally not charging any fee, to half to a 1% is generally a standard here in the US. 1.5, maybe some of them. And then going to India, I think there are a few exchanges that have 2 to 3 to 4% even, and that's unfortunately higher. But right now, India is also a smaller market. As the industry matures, I think that transaction fee will also begin to kind of get lower, and there's more competition that will just drive the costs down.
So, Vishesh, like if I take a step back and I compare it as is to equity, like in India or in US, we buy the exchanges are NSE and Nasdaq, and we buy shares through a brokerage firm like say a Zerodha or a Robinhood or say a Fidelity or ICICI Securities. Here, what we're talking about is just an exchange. We don't have any brokerages. Am I right on that?
Yes. That's a bit of a technicality that I haven't really honestly done a lot of research on that particular subject, but my understanding is you're right that there are no middleman brokerages here. These are private exchanges. They're private businesses, and you're buying this directly. And I believe the reason for that is that Bitcoin is a decentralized. There is no central authority that owns and certifies, like with the Nasdaq or NSE in India. Those exchanges, a security has to be issued. There is a regulatory body that says, yes, this company is going public. Here's our stamp, and now this company can go trade publicly. Their shares trade publicly. In case of Bitcoin, there is no single authority, centralized authority that is kind of authorizing that this is the Bitcoin that can be, so there is no role for a central authority like an exchange. So while they are called exchanges, I think they play more of a role of or dual role of both exchange and brokerage in the crypto space. They are the place where people come, more like a marketplace. You just come here and you exchange your Bitcoin, buy and sell. Right, two parties come and then they perform that transaction.
Yeah, and hence the liquidity concept that you mentioned at the beginning becomes even more important when we are choosing our exchange. Okay, a follow on this is that today, as we said, it's decentralized and we have multiple exchanges across the globe. So today, can I go ahead and or should I go ahead and use an exchange which is number one in the world, or should I look at an exchange which is number one in my country? Or is there any regulation around it?
Vishesh, before you answer that, I just want to add something to that. Like, I was speaking to a friend of mine who's been invested in cryptocurrencies for a while, and he's kind of like, he educates everyone a lot about it. And he has been talking about it for quite a while, few years. So he told me that अगर आप इंडिया में हो तो आप इंडिया के एक क्रिप्टो एक्सचेंज से ही क्रिप्टो खरीदो, क्योंकि अगर आप किसी एक फॉरेन कंट्री के एक्सचेंज से बिटकॉइन बाय करते हो और या फिर स्टोर भी करते हो वहां पे, एंड डाउन द लाइन इन फ्यूचर अगर गवर्नमेंट क्रिप्टो को इंडिया में रेगुलेट कर देती है, इंडियन गवर्नमेंट रेगुलेट कर देती है और या फिर प्रॉपर टैक्स लॉस लेके आ जाती है, सो देन बाइंग एंड स्टोरिंग फ्रॉम foreign exchanges, buying and storing in foreign exchanges will translate as money laundering. What are your thoughts on that? Just to be safe, should we just pick Indian exchanges?
I would agree with that. That to be safe, you should just pick Indian exchanges or exchanges that are operating within the jurisdiction that you live. I don't know if it is deterministic, or we can be as deterministic about that will qualify as money laundering. But then again, the regulations around this are evolving. and governments and countries are sort of catching up, understanding this asset as people have begun to already invest. So there's going to be a lot of unknowns, and therefore it is better to err on the side of caution and be safe. Invest in your local jurisdiction. Try and go, to answer your question, Parikshit, not with the number one exchange in the world, but number one or the most trusted exchange and hopefully regulated exchange within your jurisdiction for the moment. And the other factor, I think, why do people go to other exchanges? I think there's only two reasons, right? One, we mentioned that in Indian crypto industry, the costs are higher, the transaction fees possibly is higher because the market is not as mature. There's not so much competition, and that's why somebody might be interested. Hey, let me just go use a US based exchange because the fees might be lower there. But what you gain there, you will lose out in terms of foreign transaction fees. When you transfer your funds from here to the US, at the end of the day, it will not be worth the risk of the fact that you mentioned, right? Like regulation might go against you in the future. So yeah, prefer to just play it safe.
The cost that we incur for buying and selling, is it dependent upon transaction value, or is it dependent upon the number of transactions, or there is a specific cost per transaction?
You mean the transaction fees, right?
The transaction fees, right?
From my experience, I haven't used all the exchanges all across the world, but from whatever I've used, it's always been about the value of the transaction. But there is so many, it's a spectrum. Depending on the size of the exchange itself and what life cycle, the stage of their life cycle they are at, they might be offering a deal where you don't even get charged, and there's no thumb rule here. That's all I'd say. You'll have to look at the exchange that you are interested in and decide what they are offering.
And are there any limits on how much you can buy from a exchange, like a higher limit and a lower limit? Is there anything like that?
Yeah, most of the regulated exchanges should ideally have that. Like in the US, Coinbase, a regular account with Coinbase, if I open, I have a limit of $25,000 transaction, or not a $25,000 transaction, but I can only fund my account but with up to $25,000 in one go. So that's the maximum cap. If you go with an unregulated exchange, they might not even follow any of these rules, and they'll they want business. They will let you put in as much money as you want.
Okay guys, so in this episode, हमने आपको ये बताया कि how to buy Bitcoins. Next episode, we will tell you, once you have bought your Bitcoins, how to store it. Not just Bitcoin, any cryptocurrency. Once you have bought cryptocurrencies, how to store it so that you can sell it in future. And there are some costs associated with selling it too. So we'll cover that as well. So stay tuned. Let us be clear कि हम आपको cryptocurrencies में invest करने को नहीं कह रहे हैं. हम बस information और हमारी opinion share कर रहे हैं. अगर आपको cryptocurrencies में invest करना है तो खुद से research कीजिए और फिर invest करिए. अगर आप हमें YouTube पर देख रहे हैं तो let me tell you that we are also available on podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Gaana and more. Link is there in the description.